Good evening, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to have so many of you here this evening as the nights draw long. And we have the particular privilege of welcoming Zhu Pei from Beijing. It's an absolute honor to have you here with us. I know it's wonderful that you're also able to come in transit and to share some of the work that you have been doing over the past few years. Zhu Pei has been, obviously he's not a stranger to London, but this is your first time at the AA, taught at Yale and Harvard, etc., and is now the Dean of the Central Academy of Fine Art. And it's an extraordinary moment to be able to really talk about a future of architecture at a moment when it feels that so much of the architectural profession and students are kind of racing towards this uncertain future. And I think it's a wonderful moment we were talking about sort of regrounding an understanding of architecture in work that is deeply material, has a sensitivity to both form, humanity, and the material. So I'm delighted to welcome you here tonight. I'm very much looking forward to seeing your work. And I'll hand over to you. So thank you so much.
Thank you. The Ingrid gave us such a kind introduction. I also appreciate Professor Kenny Frampton also joined the lecture. Today, my lecture is, my topic is architecture of nature, experimental approach for the architectural practice. This first, this exhibition I would like to mention is took place in 2021. 2021 during the pandemic in MoMA. And this show discovered younger generation of Chinese architects to try find a new way to approach architecture based on the rich cultural and material tradition of China. Their work is not only contemporary, but also is deeply rooted into the Chinese cultural background. I think this is like 6 architects was more like a practice is not based on the central urban city, but rather than, the suburbia or different region as well. And this is my solo show in Berlin, ADAS, just early this year. The 6th project I select to locate in the totally different region, different cultural background, but they strongly share one idea, which is my design philosophy, architecture of nature. Architecture of nature is not, explore the relationship between architecture and the landscape or nature, but more importantly, want to explore the origin and the essence of architecture. I think that right now we feel architecture start lose the focus. We work many things, but we never ask what's the meaning of architecture. Where architecture came from. I always talk to my student, and architecture come to this world. They build for the people, right? Build for the body. We have 5 senses or 12 senses, whatever. But also built in this earth, under the sun. When you walk outdoor, you see the mountain, forest, and for example, and the river, whatever. As long as this is the origin of the architecture. So we cannot forget, this such important the meaning of architecture. And architecture of nature is talking about rootedness and creativity, or I call the tradition or innovation, which is between those two, can be create some attention. The rootedness not only require comprehending the past nature of a past thing, but more importantly, it requires comprehending the person nature of the past thing. More like Heidegger said, the history is not a start point from the today, cannot escape. It is not just a past error, but its essence is still hidden in today's world. I strongly believe if architecture work do not have the rootedness of the historical conscious, it is equivalent to have no focus in the universe, unable to open to existing architecture ideology system, and unable to be creative. So this is in general the idea of my design philosophy, architecture, nature. I also have 5 points. That this 5 points maybe not based on the construction or technology, but more based on the cultural vision. First one is seating poster, structure and form, sponge architecture, cave and nest. Last one is more, I feel more fundamental, is called incomplete integrity. So I think this 5 points also can be strongly generate architecture much more deeper into their fundamental, rather than we pay more attention about the form and shape, whatever. But I just feel today's world, a lot of architecture is lost meaning, and more like I call the theme park work or Disneyland work. They no longer to have the fundamental the meaning anymore. So this relate to what I thinking, and I think this is a painting done by Gao Kegong, is the Yuan dynasty. Is what we can learn from this painting. First of all, I think this is more like a natural attitude. If you look at this painting, it's dominated by nature, but artificial housing is here. The housing still have, and you can see, but it's very small. But most of the things is nature. Secondly, is this painting sort of abstract. Chinese the painter never sit down in front of the mountain to draw. They would like to traveling, and then they go back, try to catch up the memory, to doing the ink very quickly. But they not try to represent nature. They try to somehow to catch up the experience. And the last one is, I call this is a incomplete integrity. If you look at this painting, its most part is a void, like empty, right, or foggy. And then just create opportunity to welcome the viewer or people to working the painter together to complete the drawing. Actually, drawing itself is incomplete, but once you welcome people's mind, right, to join you working together, this is exactly like architecture is supposed to be. We have to think about how you to integrate with surrounding, to integrate program, to integrate activity and human being, light, wind, and so on. So I'm going to focus on one project to talking about my design philosophy, but also I generate some image of the material and the structure proposition to see how my design philosophy translate into the different tectonic terrain. The first project is Imperial Kiln Museum located in Jingdezhen, Jiangxi province. It's the central south, very humid and hot in summer, cold in winter. And this is Jingdezhen is used to be porcelain capital in the world during the Ming-Qing dynasty. If you go to British Museum, a lot of porcelain actually from this city. The whole city developed based on the porcelain, the life, industrial. People come to here, the whole life just break the, making the kiln, break kiln, making the porcelain. This is their life. If you go to the old town, like a small alley, always bringing in you to the river, and very tiny, very narrow. Also create a lot of shade in the summer. Roof overhang, you feel sort of comfortable in the summer, even more hot. But once you walk into the house, this house very unique. It's like a 3-story high. It's quite vertically courtyard. Courtyard is very small, like a chimney. And then the horizontal alley and vertical chimney going to form very interesting, sustainable idea. But this is not through the technology. This is through some smart idea, right? So this is what I discovered. And this is the important their life. For example, this is brick kiln. Their daily life, just in and out this brick kiln. And then the workshop, we can see the workshop here. And they also built the housing nearby. This is like a seal of the city. And this is not only their working place, but also a social place. The winter is so cold, this place. It's snowing. And then most of the times, the like elementary school, kindergarten move to here. They're going to take advantage from the heat, the burning the kiln. And this gave me a lot of inspiration when I work on this project. I wandering through the old town. I found out craftsmen when making the brick kiln is very uniquely. Right? They without scaffolding. They just by hand. We found out this basement like a big size of brick. They always stay. But this is the very light, small brick, very thin piece brick, is going to be demolished once a year. Things that they have to consider the demo character, heating requirement. This is their important life. This video I told, and you can find out how they transformed the complicated double curved the eggs shape into the single curvature. They just use their finger. You can see this is how it's crossing section, just like one layer of a brick. They use finger to like inch by inch to control, and then whole curvature became to the like a double curving surface. I think this mentality similar with today when we work on the computer things, right? Things we have to, transform the complicated double curvature into the single curvature. I think even computer work, we have to really rely on this, the idea. Even the past, this Visto still can reveal this kind of knowledge. Another tradition in Jingdezhen is such important is recycled brick. Since the brick kiln have to be demolished once a year, a lot of brick was broken, glazed, fired, and then they going to recycle to rebuild their housing. You can see this is the condition. This is our side. The green part is a ruin side, which is Imperial factory. And then across the small street, you can see it here, is the site. We're going to build the Imperial Kiln Museum, specifically content the porcelain came from this Imperial factory. This is somehow like a theme, the museum, just the content, one thing. And surrounding the fabric, you can see the old housing, Ming Dynasty, Qing Dynasty, and the social housing, even the factory after in 1949, built a huge factory surrounding this area. This is my early sketch. So this is showing how I can translate the brick kiln into the contemporary architecture. So I keep think about this is so meaningful for the people. I really want to create the architecture form, or we call it spatial form, to, between the spatial form, the contents, which is porcelain, and human being. I think this is a relationship, I call it blood relationship. Experience is so important for me. This is the reason I try to translate this traditional brick kiln into the architecture form. And another idea is more considered ventilation and the local so hot, how we can make our building smart. And this is also related to the seating poster. I mentioned my 5 points. First point is seating poster. And we orientate this architecture to, for example, solid against facing west east against the summer sun, and the south open to light wind to penetrate through the cube. And then this is like a venturnal, but also 7 sunken courtyard, more like a chimney effect, and then horizontal and the venturnal vertical chimney going to make this building is such sustainable. And I think very nice building in this region after built, even summer, they were almost no use except for too many people, no air conditioning. I also was surprised. This is the reason we provide air conditioning, but we can prove this is a kind of successful in terms of the sustainable idea. This is our working process, is the site model, conceptual model. This model is so important for me when I developed this idea. Thinks this is like a matrix, right? It's like a fragment form. It's not a huge the box or the messing things. The reason I want to dividing into the small piece because the brick cube never too big. Since porcelain is small, they want to keep this shape, to create a certain temperature like 1,300 degrees. So you never saw the cube too big. That's first thing. And also they associate the people's body. The secondly, I feel if you look at this each the double curved vault, they have different curvature. They have different size, different scale, and even the vault from this one, you never have one single card is the same, the dimension. So this is such complicated how we achieve that. I realize we can use 3D print quick to make this model happen. But unfortunately, our construction is by labor, right? You have to use your hand to make this museum. This is the reality today. You know, architects' work, when you think about something, you have to make sure you can really build right. You know, you have to find some right way to do it. And then this model, you can see more like a craftsman when they making their brick kiln, you know, cutting many the section. You can see this is just single cutter cutting the so many, you know, like this way. So make sure we can to really to making construction into the system. Even this is a very, you know, very unstandardized the form and the size. Once more, we keep doing the big model by hand, and we try to catch up the sense of you know, after build things. Architects, I believe that I think the most of a challenge for architect difference with artists. Artists are always facing the final work. When they paint, they know this is final. But architects is always facing the media. But sometimes media is not real, right? So how you can through the media to achieve whatever you want. That's the biggest challenge for the architects. We never have chance to build one-to-one building and then demolish, build another one, right? I have no chance, but this is our architects supposed to. You have to really through the media, drawing, sketch, model, and then construction side. I think that's the important process. And then we keep doing the model. Wood model. Definitely, this is not our process model. This is for make a collection for the MoMA, and we made a porcelain piece of art. So this is site plan. You can see how they orientate, and construction start. We recycle a lot of brick, and some mock-up. So this I would like to mention. This overall. The structure is like a sandwich, 2 layers brick, masonry, but inside this is a concrete, pour on the, on side. For example, the mention, this scaffolding is readjustable, very flexible. Underneath have 1 track. So just we invent 1 scaffolding to moving little by little. And then the curvature always changes since the form is soft. Things we have a brick layer, right? We never fear about if they little bit loose the shape, they not refine. So you can see this is going to be used very simple construction, the process to achieve the very complicated the complexity. And this is a site again. I just want to compare. This is a after build. For example, I mentioned this is an incomplete integrity on this overall, showing the idea. For example, this zigzag shape is somehow the form is incomplete, right? If we have an object put into this complicated side, and then you're like that, right? Against each other, hard to integrate. But if you have this finger, they can interlace it. But not only for the working with surrounding, but also in complete integrity, talking about program. You cannot to think about. We always leave some room, like people's future dominate. And also this showing cave and nest I mentioned, and there's some part is dark, is much more enclosed. There's some part is like semi-outdoor, is more, transparent, more like nest. So you can feel the structure form, and eventually is architecture form. So that the 5 points I mentioned in this architecture is pretty much to demonstrate very well. And then this building, in order to control the scale, I want to really lower this museum to like create an experience like a traditional kiln. I push down a lot of program underneath. So this in general horizon. The architecture form, more like lay down on adjacent to the hill. When you approach this building, you're going to feel kind of a peaceful the environment, right? The water is so soft, but this material is such really rough. And beyond, you can see a lot of factory, the chimney here, and then in general architecture. The material, structure, form, everything showing the interesting, the tension between, the different material. Like water, such peaceful, soft, and then very rough material. This two water somehow to generate how people to approach this building. So when you close up, you see the richness of material. You also see the water underneath have some rock and a stone like a group fish and underneath the water. But some pop out, right? Fishbone pop out. And this is showing somehow tectonic material idea, the concrete, how you can, making end for this break. And then detail is some metal piece, more like a typical architecture, the detail. Once you walk in, from outdoor, you go in foyer, and then this foyer going to connect to the difference, the program. For example, you're going to follow this way, going to major exhibition, and then this is like a bookstore and tea house. We have another small, the door is go to the lecture hall. For example, the consider is the biggest, more light. And then once you walk in, people going to following the light. Light those have such sensibility to people going to flow, and then into this is going to attract you to the discover the major the circulation, and then skylight as well. So glass case is so transparent. We design everything, including the furniture, glass case, everything. This is, you can see, this is from the indoor to the semi-outdoor, right? The Porcelain Museum is not an art museum. It's not just sensibility about humanity, and you can, outdoor and well. So this image showing after construction start, we found out some Ming Dynasty ruin. This is always, I mentioned, the idea, sketch, model, construction. So this is happened. And then we start to reshape, redesign, to regenerate our design, to integrate this ruin into this museum, and then make this museum such more deep into this Pacific side. And then this is a material so pure, and just break glass, concrete. And you feel the porosity of this architecture, right? You feel the difference level, and then you back to the interior again. Through this experience, you can feel the lighting changing, right? The size of the space changing, outdoor, indoor, semi-outdoor. It's kind of the rich experience, and then you have subtle stair, like people bring people down to the basement level. You can see this is you're going to follow this to go to the basement, and then you're not facing a wall or darkness. You're facing the sunken courtyard. Always have the light. Light is important for this museum. Things porcelain, most of the time, they need natural light, not only artificial light. This is a reason some people work in the museum, when they try to doing something, they move to the courtyard. It's not under the artificial light. So whole museum just to try to bring the natural light into this museum experience. And then courtyard. The beyond is a restoration room. The people also can walk out, and then back museum. So when you go down, you're going to see we have one door here. This is actually connect to the temporary exhibition. People go down, and then you see the interesting arrangement for the exhibition. For example, this is if you go down to this lower level, more like a fish belly. And then this how we organized this exhibition circulation. I call this fishbone inside the fish belly. I always try to emphasize the consanguinity. Everything, architecture, people, exhibit, experience, glass case, everything, even the lighting. So I feel the consanguinity or this relationship going to be generate power of the architecture. And we have to find out this logic relationship. And then once again, I mentioned 7 courtyard, right? Sunken to the earth. You can see the top level is a tea house. They pretty much open to the outside. This is that's a big courtyard. And then you see the material stair. And then this stair showing quite interesting thinking. This is the end of the major circulation. And for example, when you see this stair, and then you don't know what's happening behind. So I always just show one step, one piece of a stair. Never show the complete things. And then people going to be wondering. Mystery, right? Mystery create interesting things. Architecture, important character is wandering inside the spatial. You have to attract something to discover. And if everything same, light same, scale same, if you can imagine this museum going to same the vault, going to lose, opportunity to encourage people to move inside. And then once you're getting up the stair, you're going to see some surprise. And then this vault, the light, you're going to see this is a masonry brick wall, light, and then people going to attach. I mentioned architecture isn't built for the people. We have 5 senses, right? Even today, we have 5 senses. We keep emphasize the visual. But architecture is not. Architecture, you need somehow to like people's own sensibility to dialogue. So you can feel this is it's beautiful light going to be make this material even much more, live. This is another. You're going to from the stair back to foyer again. So you complete like your journey. But through this journey, you feel always spatial lighting, everything is changed. But still in the order, right? We use the same the spatial form, the rhythm, but it's changing. This may be the architecture, more like music, right? It's music. I consider music is the art much more close to the architecture. They relate to the timing, the order and the changing. So this is a lecture hall. It's under the 1 vault, and we have bring the natural light. You can see we have natural light, artificial light, combined together. Daytime is natural light, nighttime is artificial light. This is a horizontal cut exactly on the surface of the water. This is going to be see the sunken, the courtyard. This is when the people occupied this lecture hall, you feel much more. This is like the spiritual the place, right? Like a kind of a meditation or little church things. I feel this is amazing for the lecture hall. And then lighting, the vault, the architecture form keep changing. You can see one to another one. And then people going to be moving, discover. This is just like a semi-outdoor. You see the sunken courtyard here. And then you see the beyond. This is the entrance. So once you walk into this tea house, your view was somehow blocked when you're standing. And then you have to attract you to sit down. Once you sit down, you can see through this horizontal cut to see the ruin side. What is the ruin? Ruin means underneath the earth, right? So let people to focus on that. And then people going to sit down. Definitely some people see this guy cannot see through, but definitely use two pad, and also he very tall. And this showing the ventilation, from the south view. You see this whole building somehow was ventilated. Even the enclosed part, we have a lot of door open piece to bring the light, concentrate this wall. So, sorry. It's just a very short video to take a break. So through this video, you can get overall sense about the city. I didn't get a chance really to talk the city. Porcelain were different. They needed to see 300, right? 60 degree. It's most of the museum to making the glass case against the wall. But I think the freestanding people need to see everything. Look at this material. People right now, this museum, so much people to visit, and then people use hand to attach to this brick. Glaze the brick and became to the shiny, and you feel that material, right? That still have the power and the energy. Recent here, like bamboo forest. You always heard of water sound, but you don't know water in a lot of creek. So try to catch up this sense beyond bamboo, raining a lot local. Next few projects, I'm going to very quick. So basically, talking about my idea right now, just another one is I make a very interesting contrast. This is called Majiayao Ruin Museum and Observatory. This is a different region. The Jingdezhen is such tropical the climate. Here is very cold desert. The Louis Plateau, yellow clay. And this museum is for the Stone Age time, back to the, like pottery. This ruin site was discovered by the Swedish archaeologist John Anderson and found out. So the local want to create a museum. So this is my early sketch. You can see this showing the one canyon, and then one terrace here, canyon, and then this second terrace is a ruin site. And then we're going to build ruin museum adjacent to the archaeology site, and then observatory crossing the canyon on the top. So this is the site. You can see this the Louis Plateau and the museum here, ruin site, observatory on the top. This our model we did. This observatory crossing the canyon to see the museum and surrounding landscape. This is my initial sketch to just try to somehow to take advantage from local cultural and the material, since this is like a clay, right? And easier to carve out. In northwest part of China, a lot of cave, the things going on in the traditional construction. So from this, just one somehow hiding under this plateau form. So the construction also going to just start from the top. You can see going construction also challenge I want to try is not to take off the whole piece, going to construction on the center, and then we punch the hole to the difference, more like a carved turtle. So you can imagine how big this our model made. And this is the plan, just like a linear to, this is a view platform, and also to see beyond the river and the valley and so on. The museum, the idea is a cave and a nest. So this is I try to combine these things together. I feel this is not only a prototype of the human being construction architecture, also very sustainable, right? The cave and the nest, as long as you're working together, they become so smartly. So this is a part I call the nest part. And then this huge, the shell is more like a cave. So I always ask myself, where's the person come from? Come from Kiln, artificial. But where's the pottery come from? Come from nature. They must be thunderstorm, raining and yellow clay. After they burning, they frozen. So I think this is a kind of a landscape idea. So this is the reason I created this to more like the big, like a piece of pottery. Not only metaphor, but you somehow to into the earth. So this is a cutting section. Whole museum, just one run to carry on here. You can see they go down and then to the basement level, and then you go to this. In between, this is like have the gap space. You go in climbing up, and then we have the bridge to bring the people to the ruin site. This is our mock-up. You can see this, we invent very special concrete with local, the sandstone things. They have big river, and the Tao River. So this big shell is going to be like horizontal. If you beat this region, you're going to see a lot of Louis Plateau. They have the cutting through the water level change. So this architecture really tried to catch up this construction. And we almost, maybe next year, summer, we can complete this project. And this is we deal with more like a settlement. This is a conference camp, but the government want to build a conference center. I said, no, conference camp, smaller. It's in order to we can really less impact on this side. I think this is like a valley, and how you can make huge chunk into such beautiful environment. As long as only you dividing into the small piece, and then they became to the much more like a local village or settlement. You can see different size of the conference room. And then this my sketch showing the strong idea, which is just one structure form to form the complicate the architecture. You can see just like the one roof or beam, one shade wall, two shade wall in the end. Just this structure, you can see this structure, you can form together, right? And then they deal with complicated side things. When we work on the schematic level, they already start construction. In order to to catch up to their speed, I think about it, I have to find a way, smart way, right? It's an intelligent way to just use one structure to deal very complicated things. This is to reveal the interesting thinking. And we have to use simplicity to achieve the complexity. But now this war is just turned to another way. We're making process so complicated, but in the end, it's really simple, boring. This is the problem. This is current. We only know how, we don't know why. Sometimes. So this is you can see this is just one structure form dealing with, and then just quite lazy, but arch this way, arch that way. And then this image is showing, you can see this is one structure form, one. And then they start to raise up. Between the roof, they have the opportunity, bring the light in to create kind of a tropical area. It's a shading, ventilated, rain a lot, and then you're going to have a lot of semi-outdoor. But for this little hotel, and you're going to different form. But actually, it's the same structure form. The structure form is the architecture form. And people go to the conference room, always concentrate some like outdoor shading place, the structure, and then you go to the interior. So you can see, you even the raining time, you can stay, generate your mood, meet people, and then you walk in. So this part is a hotel cluster, small hotel. This is a conference room, different size, and then the structure showing the power of the material and the structure. I strongly believe architecture form should be transformed the structure form through the artistic expression. And then a lot of overhead, create a lot of shade, corridor, right? You protect the rain, you have the overhead, but you feel the comfortable. Even summer, you can stay outside. Once you walk in the foyer, and then you can go into the conference. This is a conference. So this normally conference room is no skylight. We control the light. We're doing more, the different size. This may be small size. You can see how close, how sensitive when we work on this design to deal with this existing condition. And this is another small conference room. And then this is a hotel cluster. So maybe this is the last one. This is just to try to think this is like a cultural center. It's very small. Cultural center means no Pacific program. You're doing anything. This is just so-called things you have nothing to do. You call it art center. So, and then we create more inward, like a pinwheel. I just try to test how concrete the tent structure, local, stone, wood roof. And then this is my initial like pinwheel, just the central courtyard, the few roof, like roofscape to form the in general architecture. And then inside is a curvature, and then always curvature, lecture hall, concrete, rough stone, sunken courtyard, central courtyard, the concrete work, the furniture, the window furniture, coffee table, also window as well. Between the roof, we have the light. And then this is some like moon window kind of a thing. So this is the end of the lecture. I hope everybody can not only see my work, but also probably get my idea behind, which is in today's world, even under the digital AI challenge, I strongly believe as long as architecture is built for the human being, built in this gravity nature, or human being is not a robot, and then architecture going to be forever. Thank you.
Hello, Professor Zhu, and I'm from DRL, and to be honest, I have lived in Jiangxi province for 5 years, so every year I will been to the Yale Museum. It's a very wonderful place, and instead of ask a question, I want to show you some pictures like this. The most just grows in the bricks in that.
Right.
So I think it's a very wonderful museum, and it's just like the bricks made by the mud, and it just like grow from the area from the place. So I think it's a very perfect architecture. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Not a question, right? Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. They start to mix with landscape. But I tell you a sad story. They clean up now. They brushed out, but they quickly growing again. Yeah.
Hello, I'm from the second year of AA, and I noticed in the Jingdezhen project we got a quite high vote, but I noticed most of the exhibition, the glass case are located near the ground. So how do you utilize the space above your head?
You mean the glass case always small? Right?
Yeah, the exhibition are almost near the ground, so but the vote is very high. So how did you use the space above your head?
Yeah, I think definitely this is not very high. The maximum ceiling tall, the high peak point is only 7.6 meters. You can think about the museum. Definitely it's not a double skin, no ceiling. So, and the first thing. Secondly, I feel if you go to some small vault, it's going to really smaller. I think that definitely is brought another interesting question. In Jingdezhen City, have another ceramic museum. I think it's not built for the ceramic. They built for the aircraft. Huge box. Once you walk in, like 9-meter ceiling, 2-story tall, and then small object like this small, dark, everything artificial light, everything against the wall, whatever. I feel we need somehow to generate relationship, spatial form, exhibit, and human being, right? Bodies. But architecture, this is public. The building, you cannot just push too much, right? During the rush hour, this museum every day right now so crowded. I have been once. I feel people's touch the body, so you have to give a certain space. So this is the reason we have, the small vault have bigger size or middle. So always changing, but perfectly for the person, I believe.
Hello, Professor Zhu. Thanks for your inspiring lectures. My question, or my curiosity, is more about the construction progress. I noticed in several projects, you use very, the traditional or regional local materials like the bricks. You recycle thousands of the bricks to make the cladding or the finishes. When you do the constructions, how do you control the quality of the construction? Do you prefabricate in the factory, or you just let the workers do whatever they want on site? Even for the different colors distribution of the bricks, and how do you control this kind of texture and material quality?
That depends. But in general, I strongly believe if your work through the construction too challenge, must be your design is wrong. If you're too challenged, so that I always readjust. Very dynamic during the construction side. You have to give them room. This room is not you lose your control, no. This room gave you your surprise sometime. For example, if you let them to when they making this masonry wall or something, let them to make some mistake. But in general, it's not a mistake. It's going to be create some interesting things. So I feel construction must be easier. And once again, I feel we need through the simplicity to achieve the complexity.
Hi, Professor Zhu. I'm a student from third year. My name is Xiaqi. I saw that most of your project you work with local material. So my first question is, would you say the local material kind of foundationalize your design, or you have an idea first and then you cooperate with the local material?
I think material associates culture, right? Architecture should be smart. What it means smart? Means easier. If you build something, transform the material really far away, we can do that. But not sustainable. You cost too much energy. You cost too much work. But you also feel nervous, right? You also feel somehow is isolate with not only surrounding, but also, for example, we build too much the spatial object, very clean metal, double skin things, but you're not really dialogue. So I strongly believe the material is a really important thing. Things I remember Beuys mentioned, the German artist. He said the current by his time, right, maybe 70 or 60. He said the contemporary art has to be through the material consideration to make channel to with people's sense. For example, touch, visual, and so I feel that's very naturally. If you want to make your architecture more sustainable. That's the one of the solution.
Hello, Professor. Here.
Go ahead.
Hello, Professor. So I'm an architectural designer working in London at this moment. So first thing, thanks for your time. Thanks for your lecture. It's quite interesting. I was so deeply moved by your first project, a porcelain museum that was the natural light and the artificial light to give the wayfinding, the signage for the customers, for the visitors. I was extremely surprised and extremely interested in that. I have two questions. I hope the host don't really mind for that. So the first thing, so currently I'm working on the stage 3 and stage 4 projects. The first question might be too technical. The first project, I saw you have the integration between the facade and the roof with a positive curvature. I was trying to ask, how did you consider about a maintenance in the future? Because as a building, we have to think about sustainability. Also, the maintenance, facade access, roof access is also extremely important for a building for architecture. How did you consider about that?
You mean how I consider about the futurism of architecture, right?
Yeah, so for
okay, in the beginning when I talk, I mentioned Heidegger's, right? The history not past arrow. The contemporary things hidden in the past or tradition. I think the most, if you think about the poetry, why poetry sometimes is powerful than just regular writing. Because poetry always give you something to bring you to the very primitive or, you know, some old, and also let you think about the future. I feel between the history and the future, if you only think about the future, actually it's not the future. You have to really borrow the power from the past. I mean, so if you have no historical conscious about understanding of architecture, you never can make real future architecture. That means even today we saw a lot of architecture is pretend to future. I believe history going to be proof, going to be in the future, going to be wash out those things you start, you know, a lot of architecture is not really dialogue people's mind or people's spirit, culture, and so this is the reason I feel my building is a kind of a future, but I feel that's differently. You feel the tension between tradition and the innovation.
All right, thanks for.
I just wanted to say that I think what's very striking about the work is this this feeling for landscape and topography. In a way, the structural forms are always assembled in this manner, so that they are inspired by the topography and they contribute to the topography. And I think that is nature. That's very much architecture with nature, I think. And that's what I find is consistent in your work, in every project. I find it very impressive. Above all, not to produce a freestanding object, which just stands out like a piece of sculpture, to make a form that's more continuous and topographic. I like that.
Thank you. Look, right. I remember you mentioned criticize my work is structural and sculptural. Thank you.
Also landscape.
Landscape as well, right? It's really try to work of, topographic. Yeah. Oh, here.
Hi. First, thank you very much for the amazing lecture.
Thank you.
So listening to your lecture, I think we all could see how well integrated the climate is to your design process. And how, I don't know if this is the best word, but how in a poetical way you incorporate the climate. My question is, do you consider the climate in a more conceptual way, or do you go in more in-depth analysis?
Conceptual way, how I interpret your question. Maybe I'm not fully understood, but if you think about the current architecture problem or see, right? We always to build origin from cold area architecture into the tropical area. If you see this world, or we build, like a Hong Kong glass tower in the North Dongbei, China, or New York into the Singapore or tropical, that's at least going to be very simple answer. It's not just smart. Everything, the reason is survival. Okay, we can build glass box in the tropical area, no shading, whatever. But they rely on the energy, air conditioning. But this is totally wrong. I feel we can achieve the sustainable idea through many ways, but I still believe the one of the smart way is a passive way. Is you have to take advantage from the sun, free, right? Wind is free. Why we need burning the energy? If we not only to invent insulation material, look at our architecture today, one layer facade, second layer, fourth layer, too many layers, I just feel. Too complicated. But it's very enclosed, isolated with nature, not a dialogue. So this is, I feel, something wrong.
Thank you.
I have one question. I'm a tutor here at the school in the technical studies department, and thank you for the lecture and explaining the projects, which are all very beautiful. And my question lies in the materiality of the projects, because we've seen an extensive use of concrete, and because we're talking also about sustainability and the future. And there seems to be, in many debates here at the school and other forums in architecture, of a questioning in the use of concrete. And there's a lot of research about replacements for cement. So I'm a bit curious about your view of the use of concrete in future projects, and whether any of the case studies that we've seen today use modern replacements for cement. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, this is quite. That question is. I know the concrete is not very sustainable material, but when we think about this, the issue, we can make an argument. For example, like some area, no wood. Like China is not allow you use local wood. You have to import from Canada or Russia. So if we insist, okay, wood is a sustainable material, and then we far away, when you're on the way to China, that's cost energy, right? So I feel this is not that simple. Wood is sustainable, concrete not. Or we have to somehow to specifically to make your material decision making. And if some area like North America or Russia or North Europe, the wood is definitely is a great material. I also prefer to use wood, so great. But the different situation in China. China have the regulation not use local wood. The things maybe Chinese, we used to build a wood structure, right? The traditional. Maybe we swallow too much wood. Right now we have to turn to, different way. Yeah, we think about in general overall, not just only partial situation.
Hi, Professor. I'm from diploma program. So I have a question is, do you consider like in a large version in China, like the contemporary artists or young architect, they are facing a really serious problem is like they have been limited or suppressed by the heavy culture of China. For example, I know in your project, like the Imperial Kiln Museum, you found that really the balance between the historical elements and the contemporary elements. You are trying to balance, for example, the kiln shape. But actually, I don't think so many young artists or young architects, they have the chance, really can have a way to express like in this way. So do you have any suggestion or really for the young architect in China, like we can really think about how we can balance between the history of China, like the heavy culture, and also because in the current day situation is like the local power or is trying to giving a kind of the, I think they are also facing like the suppression from like a way of the propaganda. For example, the local government also want the foreigner to see the Chinese culture really in a really fixed way. For example, red lanterns or but we really got really something deep. For example, you show about like the shan shui, the mountain and water, like. But actually, I don't think how can we balance, the local power, like that is maybe another question of me. Like, yeah, thanks.
So your first question or your major question, how younger generation or young architect to go through the right to get a chance to build such kind of work. I think I used to be young, right? Everybody used to be young. But if I share something, I feel the first thing you have to really believe architecture is art. Definitely architecture is art, but with different visual art, not only visual. Very special art, you need to believe the creativity is the key. And then you believe your face. So you cannot just swallow by the trans fashion or I give you a job and then you do this way. Probably I never do that. I used to have made couple of pieces. The scenario, I remember back 2004. I remember I just came back China. I won the competition for the government building. I made beautiful, very humble, transparent, concrete things. The government people asked me to doing something, and then I just scolding my tracing paper. He's sitting here, I'm sitting here. I said, you draw, and then I bring my team out. We definitely lost many. We lost the project, lost everything, but I feel this is not what architects supposed to do. And also under the AI challenge, technology challenge, I feel without creativity, architects are going to be disappear. Right? So you have to consider to create something. It's not to swallow by the surrounding. You have to have your mind you have faith. you insist whatever you believe. That's maybe only way. Everybody used to be young, very difficult, but yeah.
Sorry, maybe just a little bit stupid question, but actually, consider to Jingdezhen, you know, it is really occupied the tourism industry right now. But do you think what is the you know, because Jingdezhen used to be a really porcelain city,
Right.
but right now each year they have been receiving a lot of tourists inside of the city, and I believe the museum is really a place for them can visit. But actually, do you think this city really need to consider about like how can they help the local potters or the really help the local, for example, the Jingdrifter, you know, like the young artists go to Jingdezhen, they are doing some really interesting stuff. Do you think they are lack of something, lack of help on this community? Like, yeah.
Yeah, so when I first traveled Jingdezhen, I was invited to design this the Imperial Kiln Museum. That's back 2016, early for 2016. When I went to this area, Old Town, wow, so it's really declined. Almost central of Old Town is dead. It's dark. Nobody. At least after this museum built, and then start generate a lot of resource surrounding like neighborhood, the historical housing start to renovate, growing. I think this is a really positive thing. Since the city is dead, I think that's the that's the situation when you work on this project. But how to revival their original industrial? I don't have a solution, but I just believe we need to provide some good, building space, public space to start to revival the city. Definitely right now is you can see a lot of tourists because this museum, they flow to here and then spend money. Definitely they going to contribute this city. But at the same moment, the local people also starting to go back to create their own business.
There's so many questions, and I think you've been tremendously generous with your time, and it's wonderful to see such a hunger for answers across such a diverse set of questions. It's wonderful work, but I think what I noticed most of all in your presentation, you're such a natural teacher. So the work that you show is so clearly representative of the ideas that you've been obviously teaching for some time. And I think that's very rare, and certainly quite rare amongst our group here, to have the opportunity to build, to design, to realize a vision that is both pragmatic and poetic, that adheres to a set of principles so clearly. I also want to thank you, Ken, for introducing us and prompting this wonderful evening. I know there are many more questions. We have some drinks and snacks next door. Just that the door will open up and we can have perhaps some more informal conversation. But in the meantime, it's an absolute honor and a delight. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.